Welcome to The Rundown, everybody. Once again, a new show brought to you by TYT Sports and thepostgame.com. I will be hanging out today with Victor Che. Victor Chi? Chi?
Yes.
I got it. You get your chi. Get in the zone. Managing editor of thepostgame.com. Francis Maxwell, you know him from TYT Sports and Styleog. And David Katz, the founder of thepostgame.com. I have to do your name last because it makes everybody else's sound like not nearly as
very fancy.
Powerful.
We're very fancy at the
founder.
postgame.
I'm Jason Rubin. I'm president of sports. Boom. Dropping bombs. No, I'm just TYT Sports, guys. So we're going to throw to a quick video regarding athletes and Oscars, because the Oscars are around the corner, the biggest award ceremony for movie film across the country. And Greg Jennings has stated that he would like to become an actor at one point. Let's take a look. This is a video courtesy of thepostgame.com.
So you have quite an acting career budding. Tell us a little bit about your Criminal Minds experience, The League, Old Spice. You've done all these different types of commercials and television shows.
Yeah, those production crews and directors were crazy. I don't know what they were thinking. They gave me a shot, and I just kind of wung it. Yeah. I didn't know what I was. No, it's been great. I'm trying to make sure that I'm kind of developing those relationships now while I'm on the platform that gives me the leverage to go into those doors and those different avenues. So it's been great. The Criminal Minds was great. That was my first cameo, and then so on and so forth after that. The Old Spice commercials was a big hit. They do a lot of great things.
Now, are we going to see you in Hollywood? Am I going to go out to a restaurant in Hollywood and see you in a few years, well after your playing career? Are we going to see you as having a career as an actor?
That's the game plan.
All right.
That's the game plan. I'm not putting all my eggs in that one basket, but definitely have a reasonable amount of eggs in that basket.
All right then, David, that you obviously had a nice interview with Greg Jennings.
That's the kind of hard-hitting journalism you've come to expect from thepostgame.com. Actors and athletes, we put them together.
So, and I want to know what does he mean by wung it?
I believe that would be the past tense.
So of winging it?
Winged it.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yes, he wung it.
All right, he wung it.
He wunged it.
Shows he's real. He's not too polished.
Well, in honor of Greg Jennings, Minnesota Vikings wide receiver who wants to become an actor and has made his cameo appearances in Criminal Minds, pretty good show. We want to know, we'll start with David, who is your favorite athlete turned actor?
For me, a lot of people are going to come with the obvious names, but for me, it has to be the great Dennis Rodman. We saw what he could do on the court. We unfortunately saw in the tabloids what he could do off the court. But when you see Dennis Rodman, and I had to go online and look at his IMDb profile because it says, Dennis Rodman is an actor. That is what it says in his IMDb bio. Yeah. Not basketball player.
Page too?
It's incredible. Dennis Rodman is an actor. So the movie that I most like is his 1997 gem, Double Team.
Look at the rating on that.
He's billed ahead of Mickey Rourke.
So this is what I'm going to say exactly. Look at this. Let's just go back to 1997. You have Jean-Claude Van Damme at the height of his infamy, if you want to call it that. You've got Dennis Rodman getting second billing. Mickey Rourke is third on this list. And that's if you can get past the name Double Team, which has got to be the most appropriate name for a Dennis Rodman-based movie in the history of film.
Yeah.
So for me, it's all about Dennis Rodman, the thespian.
Yeah.
And he wasn't nominated that year.
No,
A snub, an Oscar snub.
That was an
Unbelievable.
absolute snub.
I love how you bring up the IMDb rating just to prevent from getting Rotten Tomatoes. So I guarantee you probably will put it in the 0 to 3 category. Unbelievable. All right.
Francis, let's move on.
Let's pitch it. Who's a Snatch, a Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels fan? Snatch movie.
Am I the only
All
one
right,
here?
Brad Pitt. All right, fine. Who knows Vinnie Jones? Vinnie Jones he's been in Snatch. You probably see him in all these cameo roles he plays. He's basically a nut job who has been a nut job on the field, running around kicking players in soccer. He used to play for Wimbledon, Chelsea. And then he goes into Snatch and he plays the exact same guy except in a movie role, and he just beats up everyone.
It's not acting.
Yeah, it's not acting. He's just going in. He goes in, and if you know him as, Bullet Tooth Tony?
Yes.
He is Bullet Tooth Tony in Snatch. So if you haven't seen that, check it out because the guy is brilliant. He just went from football to beating people up on screen.
Yeah, so Snatch and Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, two very similar but very awesome movies.
Yeah.
He is most famously known for Bullet Tooth Tony and a great line in that movie. He plays like a big, intimidating muscle guy in that movie as part of the guys that are robbing. And one of the guys comes up to him and says, "Do I call you Bullet? Do I call you Tony? You can call me Susan if it makes you happy."
But this is all whilst he's dragging him down the
Right.
car with his neck jammed in the window and just driving his car down the street with him.
Very
And it also
casually.
features Brad Pitt's amazing Irish accent.
Yes, he plays,
Big Irish accent. It's
Right.
awful.
It was great.
You
You
can
can
watch it
understand
anyway.
the word he's saying,
Yeah.
of course. All right, well, so we have Vinny, last name.
Vinny Jones.
Vinny Jones.
Vinny Jones.
We have the infamous Dennis Rodman. Victor, who could you throw at us?
Well, there was kind of the usual suspects you can round up. We recently had a poll on the
There was an actor in The
postgame.com.
Usual Suspects? I didn't see that.
Yeah.
Okay.
We actually had a poll on the postgame.com. What was your favorite athlete appearing in a movie? We got a lot of good responses with Jim Brown in The Dirty Dozen,
Great one.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in Airplane, Cam Neely in Dumb and Dumber, and Andre the Giant in The Princess Bride. And I'm going to go off the grid a little bit for a couple of my favorite picks. And I found basketball players usually get a lot of response just because sometimes the height differential is a good sight gag. I don't know if it was the greatest hit, but Billy Crystal made My Giant with George Mirasan involved.
Great call.
But going back even further, 2 basketball movies, The Fish That Saved Pittsburgh, which Dr. J had a very prominent role starring in The Fish That Saved Pittsburgh, and then Fast Break, starring Gabe Kaplan, who at the time was the star of Welcome Back, Kotter. But Bernard King was the basketball star for Cadwalader University and Fast Break. So I'm gonna have to go with Bernard King and Fast Break and Dr. J and The Fish That Saved Pittsburgh.
I love these off the cuff and these very, I want to call them not odd, but these are you did some research, some digging, fantastic. Make sure to check out that poll on the postgame.com. I do hope that poll includes Michael Jordan versus the Monstars.
Come on, I was like,
Space Jam.
when you said
Now,
basketball player,
I get made fun of here on
Yeah.
TYT Sports all the time from one of our fellow co-hosts, Ben Mankiewicz, because of my age. Of course, people 20 years ago, if you were 23 at that time, you weren't going to see Space Jam. How could you not watch Michael Jordan versus the Monstars? But I have a favorite cameo appearance, and it's of very recently, and that's Lance Armstrong in Dodgeball. When he gives the motivational speech to Peter LaFleur at the airport. You know, I had cancer that went from here all the way around my body, my head, my brain, but you know, I'm sure you have a great reason for quitting. It's just a fantastic response. And there's been many. I know this is like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in Airplane, one of the best, especially when you see him like in the cockpit and he can't fit, his head is basically touching the top of it. So that was great.
Would
And of course, he
Schwarzenegger,
has his Lakers gear on at the end when they're dragging him out of the cockpit.
Right.
would Schwarzenegger be considered in that realm because he was a bodybuilder, professionally bodybuilder before he turned actor?
We'll allow it.
Well, I mean,
let's
he's-
talk to the judges.
Judges.
Will the judges allow it?
Yeah,
The judges
thumbs
will allow
up.
it.
Yeah, I
Judges
mean,
will allow
it was borderline actor what we're talking about, but he was more of a bodybuilder before, so we'll give him it. Good for him.
Well, that's fantastic. All right, guys. Well, that leaves it for our 4 favorite athlete appearances, cameos, or starring roles. If you have David Katz's
What a
mention
guy,
of
what a
Double Team.
choice.
Double team.
Build ahead of Mickey Rourke. That is what to take away from this video. 1997, real quick. Was Mickey Rourke? Is this before his spiral downwards, or is this when he looked good, like when he was in Diner?
Probably half.
This was after Diner, well after Diner, which I think was '82. This was when he was coming out of being a boxer, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so he's taking some
It was
hits.
in between. Yeah, he had taken some hits to the head. This is in between his acting stints.
We just
He
heard.
hadn't done The Wrestler yet either.
Right.
So this is what we just heard: is he checked the IMDb at that moment and saw that Rodman was before him, and then decided, right, I'm done. Fuck this, I'm done.
That's
and then
my
his-
cue.
That was his spiral.
Boxing is my
He
go-ahead.
needed a better agent.
Yeah.
Favorite actors turned athletes. We have to do it next time. Mickey Rourke, boxer.
go.
Yeah.
All right. Leave your favorite athletes turned actors in the comment section below. Make sure to check out that poll on thepostgame.com. Please don't forget to subscribe to TYT Sports. And as always, we'll see you next time.